Hi, my name's Sasha, and I'm here to help you expand your connection with nature. Today, I am going to talk a little bit about plants, spirit medicine, and energetics. I've got a few interesting little experiences that I've been through in my life with herbal medicine and these kind of encounters, and I just wanted to share a little bit about it with you because, in fact, um, we think about herbal medicine as a way of treating people. It's a very, very powerful medicine. It's natural medicine. We're using plants and flowers, and there are some incredible herbalists out there who have never studied in their life but have just had tons of practice and lots of um, passed down information from sort of generations before and through other herbalists that people before didn't have qualifications and this kind of thing. So they still practice, and they are some of the most incredible herbalists that exist to this very day. But recently, some laws have come in, definitely I think in the UK, which have said that we need to study, we need to go to a college or university and learn more about herbal medicine and get a diploma or a qualification, which is actually good in some ways because it does stop people from just guessing, and the ones that are not very good then are regulated. So it does mean that if you go to a herbalist, you're going to find one that is regulated and that can help. So that's great. And when I was at college, we learnt everything. We learnt everything. We learnt pathology, we learnt naturopathy, we learnt lots of different types of herbal medicine from different places. We learnt the Ayurvedic, a little bit about Ayurveda. We learnt a bit about Chinese medicine. We learnt a little bit about bark flower remedies and all the other kinds of things too. And it was very, very, very a very good basis for me because I understood all the actions. I understand now the properties and the chemical constituents within the plants and the actions on the body and how plants affect illness and health and how generally they can be used to promote good health, but also to sustain a lifestyle that you like by keeping your major systems kind of clean and healthy and supported and nourished. And that's one of the beautiful things about plants. It's a way of you can encourage plants into your life on a daily basis, in terms of diet, in terms of just in terms of teas, in terms of you can bring plants into your life. It doesn't have to be that you wait until you get sick and then you take the medicine. That the natural kingdom is there for us all the time. In fact, we can go out there and we can get what we need when we like it, really, if we have the time to go and search for the plants and we understand what they are and where they are. The dosage is a different matter. But you can find that information online, and but it is harder to know unless you have trained or you have had experience in that. But I wanted to share something with you. There is energetic medicine here too. The plants, I believe, have a spirit. I wasn't so sure on this when I started. I really wasn't sure on this. I did think I was literally going to be learning about plants, the actions they have, and what effect they have on the body. But when I started learning, I started to feel my intuition working along with the plants, which was quite a surprise to me, actually. So we did about 360 hours of clinic while we were at college. It was a long time. We saw a lot of patients and we watched and observed and actually did consultations ourselves. And you get a real good feel for what's needed and also you get these instinctive thoughts coming in, and it's very interesting to observe that because you know the knowledge, you've learned, you've studied, you know what plants do, you know what one to prescribe for certain illnesses and things like that, yet still sometimes you get a plant pop into your head, you have no understanding of to why that plant has come into your head, and you kind of are sort of drawn to look into it, drawn to sort of ask more questions and see what the history of that plant was, what people used it for before, and also the sort of energetic side. And you can find information on the energetics of plants because there are people who have worked with the spirit of plant and still do. So that was a very interesting process to go through. I had a client once who had psoriasis. She'd had it for a very, very long time, and she'd struggled really with understanding why it was still there, and she couldn't get rid of it at all. So on a practical level, I made a cream for psoriasis, and that really, really helped the skin on the surface. But it did coincide, her psoriasis, with the grief of losing a friend a very long time ago from cancer who had she had cared for until the end. And it was at that point I said to her, when does it start? And she said, oh, I happened to start, when I found out my friend was sick, and she flew abroad and she was with their friend for a long, long time. So we worked on that a little bit, and I gave her the prescription at the end. And as I was writing this prescription, a plant kept popping into my head that I really didn't think related to the picture that I had from her. So I decided to look into the plant. And when I looked into it, I found out it was actually elderflower. And I decided elderflower, not in school we're taught that elderflower is called a cooling diaphoretic, which means it cools the body and it helps the body to sweat. So it's really good for colds and flus, because in fact elderflower is one of the main remedies we give when we have a cold. We mix it with mint and yarrow, and you can make a big tea like that, and it really helps the body to stay cool but to continue sweating, and that way toxins are eliminated and the body stays cool, which is what you kind of want. So that was interesting, and when I looked into it I found out elderflower is actually like the mother of the forest, and it's like a very beautiful, supporting, nutritive like herb for women, and spiritually it's kind of it looks after the other plants, it looks after the people. So there's a lot of folklore around elderflower that suggests that a long time ago it was actually illegal to cut down an elderflower tree or an elder tree. It was actually illegal because they had such suspicion over it. It's got a lot of folklore connected to the fairies, to the spirit of the forest, and to the general overseeing of the other plants. To me, this really caught my imagination. I really love that so much. So I thought, okay, this is probably relative to this lady I'd seen. And because it was energetic, I thought that I would make it into a drop dosage remedy, which I mixed with honey. So I find a really beautiful raw local honey, and with a bit of tincture you kind of mix it in and make drops. And I gave this tone. It really had a beautiful soothing effect. But sometimes when I know it's for the heart and it's to do with emotions, I had a bit of rose as well, and that's a lovely thing to do. So that really helped, and I wanted to show you this. This is my little bottle of tincture. This is 10 years old. I've had it for a really long time. I made it myself right at the beginning when I started studying, because it's made with borage flowers. Now, borage flowers I decided to grow from seed. I grew them and I put them in my little plant patch in the garden. And my mum was a bit annoyed because I actually put it in her flower bed, and her flower bed was very beautiful and organised. And then I was like, I'm just going to plant a little borage flower, and then it grew into this enormous thing that just took over the whole flower bed and kept dropping seeds and coming up for 10 years after. She's still trying to pull it out, but I didn't realise that at the time, and it was lovely. I collected a lot of flowers, and the way you can make a tincture like that is to put them all in a jar, and you buy some vodka, just some good quality vodka, and you cover the flowers. We all know borage flowers, so there's little star blue flowers. They are energetically wonderful for bringing happiness into our lives and lifting the spirit. They're quite an uplifting flower, so they're really lovely to add into mixes if you want, or in teas, and to dry in summer. That is why some people put borage flowers in ice cubes and put them in their gin and tonic, because gin is traditionally quite it brings the mood down. It's quite a heavy plant. The juniper within gin is quite heavy, and you hear people of being slightly depressive on gin. I don't think I ever have been, but borage flowers they used to put in the gin to lift the spirits. So that's interesting. So when I made this, I did that. I poured vodka over a jar of borage flowers. I let it infuse for a month, and you can do that in various ways. There's lots of information on infusing and making tinctures. And then after, I added a good dosage of beautiful raw, I think I even found borage honey somewhere. I can't remember. Anyway, I put it in and I've made my drops. Now this, I did think at the beginning, it's borage flower tincture. It's going to be really nice. It's going to uplift my spirits and keep me feeling really good. And you know what? It does work. It's really ridiculously brilliant. I recommend that for anyone, and I'm not going to give this to anyone because I made it myself. I don't know, there could be stuff in it, but I like it. I'm drinking it. It's just for me, and it's a miracle worker, really. We've had a lot. Me personally, I've had a lot of things going on over the last 8 years. we left England, we moved to France. We moved house 3 times within 2 years with my 2.5-year-old little girl. And in that time, we lost our baby as well. I was pregnant and we lost our baby at the birth. And then after that, it was just, I don't really remember the next couple of years. We moved house again. And then I was pregnant again, and we've had our little boy now, Elijah, who is 2.5. But it's been quite hard, and the house we're living in, it needs renovation, so we're living in a state of kind of mess constantly, and needing to find more and more work. We're finding more and more work on the house, so it's quite stressful. And there have been days where I've been totally down. I'm feeling really, really drained, and I've walked into the kitchen. I've felt pants. I've just seen this bottle, dropped a load in my mouth, and been like, "Yeah, it probably won't work." And miraculously, I feel a shift. I do actually feel a shift in my mood. It's like the cloud and the pressure lifts. So, in the times where you're feeling that down, where you're feeling that dark, and you really have lost quite a lot of hope, and then you feel a shift, you really notice that shift. It's not something you take lightly or you take for granted, because you're so desperately trying to cling to something that makes you feel normal again. And when it actually does help, you really notice that. So it's given me a lot of faith in the kind of energetics. It's given me a lot of faith in plants. It's like it keeps, the plants are trying to talk to me through the grief that we've been going through, talk to me through the sadness that we've had. And although I've kind of, for periods of time, I've ignored it all, because I haven't had the mental capability to even look at what's not just literally in front of me, step by step. Yeah, it's never left me. I think once you start to connect with nature, when you start to connect with the plants, when you start to connect with the kingdom that's there, you realise you're living, half your life. You hear people who start diving and they say, gosh, there's like, you live only really on like 3/4 of the planet. The rest of it is water, and there's this world under there, which no one really knows unless they go diving. It's the same for plants. We're passing by the greenery. We're passing by every day all these plants, all these trees, all these bushes, all these little tiny things that are living. They're breathing, they're living, and they have an energetics around them. We have really everything we need here on the planet ready for us to learn from, and to listen to, and to make to bring back into our lives. And I think that's something we've really neglected and we've really lost, and we wonder why we're all so disconnected. Trying to reconnect with that is really important, and you'll find it brings so much joy into your life, and you can start to live more consciously. Anyway, I thought I'd share that with you. If you fancy making your own little honey vodka tincture thing, you can experiment with flowers that are that are really tame and really nice. You can start with lavender, you can start with rose petals, you can start with borage, even little primrose flowers. Just give it a go. Buy some vodka from the shop, some good quality vodka. Buy little kilner jars or jars, fill up the jar with the flowers and cover it, leave it for a month, and then strain it. And then there you've got your own little infused vodka. But never do it with a plant you don't know. Never do it with something you're not sure of. And always, always, always search for advice if you're not 100% sure. And if the person you've asked is not 100% sure, then just don't do it at all. You don't want to make yourself ill. So that's the first rule. Okay, I hope this has been helpful. And it's nice to start taking these as drop dosage. Just like, be calm, close your eyes, drop some on your tongue, and just see if you can feel and sense anything in your body changing. It's very nice to do. Okay? Thank you for listening, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.